Hi! Welcome back to Ink and Matcha. Cheers! So in today's video, I wanted to have a recap of 2024, which has been the year where I've returned to YouTube and have fully dedicated as well part of my time to work on my passion project, turning my novel into a comic book. What I realized throughout this year is I never took a moment to really appreciate how far I've come. The month of November, especially for me, has been so challenging and I haven't been able to make as much progress on the comic itself. Now that we're in the month of December, I'm always reflecting back on the year, on what were my goals for the year. And for 2024, my aim was to finish the first volume of my comic. And I failed to do that. But I made some good progress. I really did. Let's talk a bit about my comic. So I started working on my comic back at the beginning of the year. So it was New Year's Eve and I was creating the first blue pencil sketches of my prologue pages. And it's crazy to say this, but basically in November, I managed to finish 3 of those pages that I started back in January. They're inked and they have the text digitally all set and ready. And the first chapter, we have sketched out completely. There's 36 pages of those. The second chapter, we have 12 pages of the 36 that have been sketched out, but all the thumbnails are ready. And we have the thumbnails of the chapter 3, which is going to have 41 pages. So it was a coincidence that the first and the second chapter actually ended up having the same amount of pages, but third one being 41 pages really speaks for itself. So it's a huge volume of work actually that I've done. But when you're in the midst of it, you don't really take it in. You're not aware of the progress that you're making. Chapter 4, I've reread my novel. I adjusted small things that had to be done. But chapter 4 is now going to be entering the thumbnail sketches, which means once we have those, we are done with thumbnails for the first volume. And this basically means once we have those done, I can go full in on finishing the chapter 2 blue pen sketch. And furthermore, today we're going to also start inking the first page of chapter 1, finalizing the 4th page of my prologue. I mean, if I put all of these in front of me and truly ask myself, well, do you really think you failed just because you didn't manage to finish all of these by the end of the year? The answer is no, of course. I'm just happy I showed up in all the small possible ways that I could have. And not to mention that, I did all of this next to having all of the other responsibilities, having a full-time job, having to commute to that job, also finishing my studies in foundations of concept art, and not to mention that I also did a lot of digital art overall, through this program that lasted basically from the September of last year into the July of this year, all next to all the other responsibilities. And I'm not saying this to brag, but rather to illustrate that the bar was set so low. It was just work on 1 page per week. It might be silly because there is only 3 actual pages of my comic that are done. But when I look at the scale of the project, when I look at how much progress has been made in each of the sections, I still think it's amazing. What makes me sad, throughout the year, I was unable to see that. I was unable to appreciate all the small steps that I was taking that brought me here. I wanted this video to serve as a reminder to anyone out there who, is putting a lot of work in and who is showing up each day, and at the end of the year sees nothing but a list of attempts that haven't brought them yet to their goal. I just wanted to say that as one of those people as well, take a moment to appreciate where you are. Tap yourself on the back and say you did good. Show yourself some compassion, show yourself some love, because there is so many incredible artists out there and so many incredible hardworking people. And with the social media, with having the ability to constantly compare ourselves to the works of others, to the lifestyles of others, you feel that you're constantly chasing the next thing. But when is it truly going to be the time to appreciate where you are now? I watched recently a very cool video. I'm going to link it in the description. I don't remember yet the name of the creator. It's going to be here written on the screen. But I watched this essay and she was talking about the quiet rebellion that she was doing with her life, with the small changes that seem so insignificant, but yet we're slowly amounting to something big. And I think this is what this project has been for me. A quiet rebellion against this rat race that has been pushed onto us by the society. It feels like an act of rebellion, standing up for my own dreams. This year has pushed me so many times to the point where I just wanted to give up. Even though it didn't amount to any big transformational changes. I do not have my comic book now as a book to show you. I do not have even the prologue completely finished to show you. But looking at all of the progress that I did make, it's like I did do this, and maybe it takes me a little while longer till I get there. But it doesn't mean this was all in vain. And I think sometimes we just need a reminder. Sometimes we just need to hear, take a moment and appreciate how far you've come. And I know if you're anything like me, if you're in pain, if you're going through a very hard time, that in the moments where you're experiencing these emotions, it seems meaningless to take these steps. But I at least really love the work that I'm doing for my comic. And when I take a moments of time to really sit with my work, to look at my drawings, to see all the little mistakes that I've made along the way. I was just looking the other day at the 3 finished pages and I realized how sloppily I did a lot of the things because I was tired. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did them tired. I did them with my eyes extremely exhausted after 8 hours I've already been sitting in front of the screen. I came home and I sat into the late hours working on those. And of course there's going to be mistakes, of course it's not going to be perfect. But isn't this precisely the point? The quiet action of showing up for yourself in all the small meaningful ways. One small choice after the other. And I wish that I could end this video with a big promise that is gonna rejuvenate the hope in everybody else. But the truth is I'm struggling. I'm struggling every single day to find meaning, to show up. But then I thought to myself, everybody goes through this. Nobody has any use of hearing that life is tough. There are so many of us who have big dreams and we've been working so hard towards it and it feels like we are amounting to nothing. But at the end of the day, does it matter? Does it matter that you reach your goal? Or does it matter that you showed up? Does it matter that you did it anyways? This is precisely the approach I want to have towards my art. And I think I so rarely take the opportunity to say this to myself and also, to consider 500 people subscribing to my channel. Can we truly comprehend what 500 people actually are? I have a picture. This is a room full of 500 people. This amount of people thought the project I was working on was interesting enough for them to click subscribe. Maybe some of them are bots. If in real life I saw this amount of people showing interest towards anything that I do, I first get probably a panic attack because that's a big crowd. But secondly, I've always been the only art kid in school. I've always been surrounded with people who didn't appreciate it, and the life has just took me to places where people never understood the passion, the work, the effort. They took it for granted. They call it talent, but they don't see you sitting at your desk like a little gremlin, spending hours and hours of time just trying to understand what muscles make up the eye. And I think in the end, this is what I want this video to basically end with. A big thank you to everyone who supported this channel, who left a comment, who left a like, who subscribed, and even to those who just watch, come by, you know, the lurkers. I was a lurker on YouTube for, I think, years upon years until I decided to start my own YouTube channel. I don't know what the new year will bring. I am cautious of making any promises. I'm cautious of setting any big goals. But what I do know is that I will still work on the first volume and that I still want to finish the first volume. So unfortunately, we will have to push the finish volume 1 to the year 2025. We'll get there eventually. And one day I'll sit here and I'll hold my comic and I will tell you, it took me this long, but now I'm here. And it won't matter how long it took. And I wish everyone who is currently working on their own projects to please don't give up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following my journey. I will be working on the chapter 4 thumbnails over the winter holidays. I do have another project connected to my comic coming up for the next year. And that is that I wish to finally prepare concept art for the main characters of the story, which I still haven't done, by the way, but given everything that's been going on, that's okay. I will tell you more about the project as well in the next year. Next time we see each other, it will be 2025, and until then, just keep on creating. Thank you for everything. Ciao!